If you're sending one email to a prospect, a potential client, and you're giving up before they respond, you're leaving serious money on the table. Hey, my name's Sami, and this is Agency Fire. And today we're going to talk about email marketing and how it's very important that you send at least 5 emails in all of your sequences. Now let's get started. So the typical situation with most recruiters is they will, for example, if they're candidate specking, if they're putting out a candidate to market, or if they're just reaching out, to introduce themselves to a potential client, they'll send one email. And that one email for them is the be all and end all. If they don't get a response back from that email, they've given up. It's the end of the world. They move on. Unfortunately, that's not the right way to go about things when it comes to recruitment. If you've heard of the term, clients need 7 touch points before they respond to you, this is where it comes in. When I say 5 emails that you need to be sending, those are just emails. You also need to be doing other touch points on the back end, but we'll get to that in a moment. So let's start with the email side of things first. We have day 1, right? This is your first email. Okay. And this is where you might have the little, you have your little gift here. Okay. This is called the gift email. And what you do here is you lead with value first. It's very important that you do that and not just go in and, hey, can we work with you? That's not the right way to go about things. It goes back to one of our earlier videos where we talk about the funnel and the marketing funnel and how you go about leading people down that funnel in the right and appropriate way. So the day 1 email is the funnel, is the gift. Okay. So we'll put here the gift, and that can be anything. So a very common one in recruitment is a salary benchmark. Now, most companies, believe it or not, don't really know what the right market rate is for any given candidate. You might be thinking, well, that should be obvious. No, it's obvious to you because you're a recruiter and you're speaking to candidates on a daily basis. But a lot of companies just simply have no idea. And as you know, when it comes to finding the right candidate, market rate is very, very important. What's the current market rate for any given type of person based on seniority, based on skill set, and more importantly, based on geography? All of that information will become very, very apparent to you when you're having conversations with your candidates. It's very, very valuable information that you already have. It's a byproduct of the conversations that you're already having. So that can be packaged very nicely by your VA, outsourced into a nice, presentable PDF with your branding that can be sent out to any prospect, any client. You send that out to them, that's the gift. That document is worth thousands and thousands and thousands, and you're doing it for them for free. So you're leading upfront with value. That's the gift email right there. Second, you send out your day 3, okay? Now, we're going to skip a day here, right? Because you don't want to be spamming people. You give them a bit of time. And these days, by the way, are indicative. So it doesn't have to be day 3. It can be day 4. It can be day 5. But I wouldn't go past day 5. So you want to be frequent enough for you to stay on top of mind, but you don't want to be spamming people, and definitely not more than 1 email a day. In fact, 1 email every other day is the maximum frequency that you should be doing. Now, this is where you provide the insight, okay? This is my little magnifying glass here. This is where you provide the insight, right? So you're starting a bit of a conversation here. You talk about a recent candidate that you placed that's relevant to the company that you're reaching out to, okay? So let's say this particular company is, let's say they're an infrastructure type company. Okay. So then they might have like a storage services for other companies. It might be a cloud provider. You could talk about a DevOps engineer that you placed recently at a very similar company. Okay. And if you can mention names, even better, because that adds much more credibility. If they can see that, okay, let's say just as an example, right? This is Amazon Web Services. Okay. Okay. Amazon Web Services, very big company. They're in the business of providing, as the name suggests, web services, right? So things like storage and infrastructure and much, much more. If you happen to have placed someone very recently at GCP, okay, which is Google Cloud, okay, it's basically their number one competitor, or probably Microsoft is one of the number one competitors, but it's one of their top competitors, right? And you're able to go into detail and talk a bit about that company, and more importantly, if you can weave it into how that person's skill set is very similar to the kind of tech stack that they have and the kind of person that they're looking for, and if you can even further weave it in with an active role that's currently within their careers page or within their LinkedIn jobs page, then you're onto something there. That's gold. So that's an insight. It's almost like a bit of a case study. Okay, you add that into your day 3 email right there. Next, you go into the day 7. Okay, and this is the hook. Okay, this is my little. You can see how good I am at drawing here. But that's the hook, right? That's where you catch them and you talk about a particular pain point that a company like theirs is likely facing, right? And this will come with time as you start working with clients in a similar industry. You will know what their pain point is. You'll know exactly why they might struggle to attract top tier candidates. And you will know, most importantly, how you as an agency can differentiate yourself from others and the types of candidates that you have and how you can solve their pain points. So that's going to go into your day 7 email. Next, you have your day 14, right? So 2 weeks later, you've got your cadence set up there. And this is your breakup, right? Email. Okay. Now, this is strategic. All of these emails are, of course, being sent out when they don't respond to the previous email. If by day 14, your 2-week email, they haven't responded to you, you're going to send a breakup email. And essentially, this is where you can talk about, hey, listen, appreciate you haven't had a chance to respond to the email. I hope we've delivered value. And then you move on. Okay. But this has to be done in a way, if you can add a bit of humor in there, that always helps. And most of the time I've found that this email is the one that actually gets responses. Even if it's a, listen, I've really loved everything that you've sent so far, but just now's not the right time. Let's have a call in 2 months. Boom. You put that into your CRM 2 months later on the same thread. Okay. You respond to them because they will know then, okay, I actually did have a conversation with this email. 2 months later, believe me, they would have forgotten about you. Don't take it personally. But if you respond to them in that same thread, they will see visually, okay, I did have a conversation and I did say, follow up with me in 2 months, right? So you're following up with them. Now, during this process, you're most likely not going to get a response on the first one. Okay. Just being honest with you. The chances increase as you go down this list, okay, of actually getting a response. And the highest chances are on the day 30 reset, right? So day 30, I would actually send another email and we call it a reset, okay? Because these are just rotating arrows, by the way. We call it a reset because we're going to send a new candidate in there, okay? And we're going to actually make a different introduction. And this can reset every 30 days. So you've got constant machine where you're going out, you're constantly having touch points. At any point when a client comes back to you and says, stop, or I'm not interested, or anything along those lines, you need to make sure that you've got some sort of kill switch where you're going and ending any sequences or anything along those lines. Because the last thing you want to do is, once someone has said no to you, you're bombarding them. That's against one, GDPR, it's against the law. And then secondly, you're going to piss them off and they're never going to work with you again. So day 30, you reset there. Okay. So you can see there from day 1 to day 30, you've got emails going out. Each one is adding value, and each one is putting you and your agency at top of mind when it comes to recruiters. Now, the key here is that persistence plus value equals revenue. Okay? You need to be persistent. This is just how the game is. You need to be persistent. I like to call it professional persistence, right? You're not annoying people, but you're going out there. You'll be surprised. People forget. People are busy. If you're reaching out to key decision makers, as you will, head of talent acquisition, your hiring managers, you're going to be reaching out to CEOs, co-founders, etc. People are busy. I know myself as a CEO, I am busy. And a lot of times things will drop. Things will fall through the cracks. Being persistent is what gets you back up there. The number of examples I can give you where my client came in at this email or this email, countless examples, right? So you mustn't give up in the first sections. You mustn't give up even after day 30. You might have to go for 2 months until that client actually gets back to you. Value, another thing. Don't just be persistent with rubbish. Don't just send anything out there. You must be adding value with each email. Each email must be adding something onto the thread, right? So you're not just repeating yourself. That's how you stay top of mind. And that's how you end up generating revenue for your business. If you found value in this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And if you'd like to share it with someone, I'd appreciate that. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Before you go, let me quickly tell you why you should subscribe. If you're serious about making money in recruitment, whether you're a business owner trying to scale, a recruiter looking for independence, or an entrepreneur, or a salesperson exploring the industry, this channel is built for you. I don't just share theory, I give you practical guides, step-by-step tutorials, and real insights from my experience. I started from scratch, spent years figuring this stuff out on my own, and now I'm sharing everything I've learned. The wins, the mistakes, and the systems that actually work. This is real, on-the-ground knowledge from someone currently running multiple recruitment agencies, managing teams, and building systems that scale. If that sounds like something you want to be a part of, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. I post new videos like this every week, and I also share more insights on my Instagram, things you won't find in any formal degree. So go ahead, check out the next video, and let's keep growing.